This is Harold with Papa Bear's Peppers, and I'm back. First of all, I want to apologize to everybody out there. Life got busy on me. I had a lot going on. Yes, I'm still growing, and now I'm coming back. For those of my new subscribers, thank you for subscribing and hanging out with me here, and let's get 2021 growing. We're in the new greenhouse right now, so let's get into it. I'm going to show you some plantings that I'm doing right now and bring you up to speed on what I'm using for my Nectar for the Gods to start with, and then we're going to go ahead and ramp up as the year goes on, and I'll get into my Greek regimen. I often get a lot of people ask me if I was going to pick one Nectar for the Gods nutrient or supplement that I was going to use, and I wanted to keep it really simple and real easy. This is it, folks. The Nectar for the Gods one-shot granular. This is one of the best nutrients that you can find out there. This is like adding worm castings and a whole bunch of nutrients right into your soil, and it lasts for 3 to 6 months. So I'm telling you folks, an awesome product right here. It'll keep you going for 3 to 6 months, which, as you well know, is a growing season. Now inside the greenhouse here, I extend my season out, but it's a great product, and if you really want to keep it simple, add this into your plantings and you'll really be happy with the results. So let's get at it and let's get some planted. Now, if you've been looking at my videos and wondering, well, why doesn't the promotional code work? Well, I got with Scott Ostrander, the president of Nectar for the Gods. What we did is we came up with a new promotional code, and that is PB Peppers 20, all in caps, PB Peppers 20. I'm gonna put it down there in the description block just so you know what it is, and I'll put it right here across the screen. But I've been in here and I'm still going at it. Had a really horrible year this year regarding the bugs. I got the triple threat. I had thrips, I had mites, and I had aphids hitting all my seedlings at the same time. Fortunately, I was able to save some, and also fortunately, because of my Aerogarden, I was able to fast grow a bunch of these plants like this one here, which is a Pickles, Jimmy Pickles Peppers, Jim Morrow. This is one of his that I've got going here, and you can see the root structure that grows through there. Now, what I'm going to do here, I saved this intentionally because sometimes you'll get people saying, don't grow in sponges, it'll block their growth. Well, I want to show you something here. You can see the sponge right here. The sponge is not going to inhibit the growth of your pepper plants. What it's going to do is, you can see here, the roots blow right through there, and this sponge is going to expand and allow the plant to grow at a normal rate. If anything, it's going to help get you a faster growth and get accelerated like what I needed. I have actually 2 of the Aerogardens, and one has a seed tray in it, and I'll tell you what, I use everything I can to push the growth. But now I'm into putting them into soil, and that's when I come to my Nectar for the Gods. Nectar one shot will really help your plants grow, and you'll be kind of surprised at your end result. This is the easiest way to do it. Now, you can do that, and it's a one-time, for 3 to 6 months, you can expect growth. You just follow the applications on the back to whatever it is that you're growing, whether you're growing in pots or you're growing in just the ground or into a raised bed. I have 3 of them out there. I'm in the new greenhouse right now, and I finally am starting to get things dialed in. But what I'm going to be doing is watering these in, and what I'm actually going to use is a Nectar for the Gods nutrient mix to really help boost them, keep them out of shock. One thing I am using this year is I'm using these felt or cloth type grow bags, and I'm really having good luck with them. I'm also trying out from Bootstrap Farmer their grow bags. Now, this is a 7-gallon bag, and so it's going to allow my plants inside the greenhouse here to really flourish. and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with those. Now I've mixed some soil up and I'm getting ready to put these down. Now I've got my soil mixed here, and what I've got right here is rainwater that I've been collecting, and I'm going to moisten this soil down, get it nice and moist. Always moisten your soil down before you actually plant. It's going to help really lock your soil in, get that moisture going into it. Here we go now. This is going to be using the Aerogarden pods. And what I want to do is open this hole up deep enough so when I take this plant and I put it in here, it's going to be fine going in. Now I'm going to fortify that soil. I'm going to use a little blood meal just because that's my thing. I like using the blood meal. Kind of helps give it a little start, a little kick, and I'm just using an organic Epsom blood meal. Now here's putting in some one shot right now, and I'm really, you know, you can't overdo it with this stuff. You're not going to burn the plant because it's organic. This is the one thing I'm doing this year that I want to show you. I'm going to be adding some of the Bigfoot microrhizae into the soil. This is a granular, and really this is one of the originators of the microrhizae compound. And what I like to do, and I get this through the Nectar for the God site, Oregon's Constant Gardener, I sprinkle some in there, and that's really going to help the roots uptake the nutrients that it's going to be getting. So then I'm going to go ahead and get this plant in before it gets any kind of shock. I'm lifting it up, and that's the best way I've found to transition between my Aerogarden and then bringing them out here to get them going. There's many ways you could do it. You can do it in the soil, but when I want to rapid start plants, I do use my Aerogarden. That's how I get them big fast. This plant is less than a month old. It's right around a month old. So it gets that rapid start, and then I go ahead and now I'm going to lift this up just slightly, and I'm going to add more soil around it so I can really fill this pot up good. That's just my starter right there, was what I was wetting in, and now I'm bringing this in around it to really fill it up. I want to maximize how much room I have to get these plants going, so I'm holding the leaves up and out of the way. So really that's all it takes, and I'm just going to tamp this down. I'm not going to really push it down hard. I want the roots to be able to expand quickly. And there you go. Now I'm going to bring in just a little bit more water and wet it on in. And soon that'll start taking off, it'll perk up, and it'll basically lift right out of here. The only thing I'm going to do at this point is make sure that I don't have any leaves like just buried into the soil. But I'm right to the top of this pod right here. I'm right at the top of it. So just so you see how that's done, you can plant those into your soil just like that. Now that's ready to go. I'll go ahead and stick a label in there so I know what it is, and I'm going to go ahead and set that up. Now I'm going to keep these inside the greenhouse here, and as you've seen last year, they really take off. They become very large monsters. Well, now I'm going to have my monsters over there growing, and I'm going to have, this is the monster room too. So we're going to go ahead and really get them going here. Get these planted in, and the great thing about it is in a greenhouse now, our temperatures don't get quite as hot as they do out in the south or southeast. So we have a kind of a moderate temperature, and today it's overcast. I will give you that tip. If you are going to plant outside, make sure that you have an overcast day, or you're doing it in the evening, okay? That way you prevent that plant from going into severe shock, and they will go into shock if you plant them in the middle of the day. They're not going to like that a lot, so it's better to do it either very early in the morning, best to do it in the evening, or even better on an overcast day when they have a chance to recover themselves and become strong and really establish their roots again. So that's the best way to prevent them from going into severe shock. Now, I know a lot of you have probably transplanted already. Here we go a little bit later, but you can always reference back to this video. Now, whether you're starting your seedlings in the soil, or if you do it to rapid start them like I did in the Aerogarden, either way, this planting technique will help you. Remember, if you are going to put them outside and you are starting them inside, make sure you harden them off. Now, the best way I've learned is when I put them in the greenhouse to start, I move them from indoors and I move them into the greenhouse, they start to acclimate. Now, my greenhouses, they're heated in the wintertime, and I actually use the barrels full of water to act like a radiator in the summertime. So I heat them in the winter and I unplug them in the summer, and actually they absorb a lot of the heat and protect the plants. When it's starting to get hot like it is now, we're starting to get into the mid-months. This is when I highly recommend the Spartan regimen. Okay, basically what I'm saying is you can go to the 4 basic. You can go online and get the charts. You can download them, and I laminated them here, or you can order them at Oregon's Constant Gardener and get your own laminated ones. I've got every regimen on here. My preferred regimen when it gets a little further along and on the big monsters, my overwinters, is the Greek regimen. When I'm starting them out, I like to hit them with the Spartan regimen. Now, this one's a little bit less, and really people say, oh, it's too much work. I follow the chart. I do what the chart tells me to. I've got young seedlings here, so I'm going to follow that chart. And what I use is Medusa's Magic, Gaia Mania, Herculean Harvest, Zeus Juice, and then of course Olympus Up to bring it up. Water pH is critical. Now, you really don't do your water pH until you've mixed everything together, and then I'm going to pH my water. Now, I prefer it to be anywhere from 6.2 up to 6.8. That's what's going to really put these nutrients into overdrive, make them work really well for you. I also recommend filtering your water just to make sure that it's nice and clean. In this case, we're going to use some rainwater, and we're going to mix it up real quick, and I'm going to add it to these. It'll help with any kind of root shock that I may have. Remember, I first have hit them with my Bigfoot Microzay, and now I'm going to hit them with the Bigfoot Microzay root inoculant. So, next thing to do is I'm going to add this in, and you really simply read the back, and the directions for this is 1 teaspoon per gallon. So I pull out my 1 teaspoon, and I'm going to do for 3 gallons. So I go 1, 2, and I'm going to actually use this along with my nutrients. There's one thing that I've found out when using Nectar for the Gods is a lot of people will say, well, when it gets really hot, I get a lot of flower drop, I get a lot of things like that going on. When you use a calcium-based nutrient like Nectar for the Gods is, the calcium helps give you good cellular strength in your plants. It's going to help them be vigorous. They're going to be a lot more tolerant to heat and cold. So when those temperatures really climb up, I get a lot of tolerance for my plants. So yes, now there's one added benefit. I've found, and this is me, I have found that in the end, when my plants are grown and they're finished, the peppers seem to be a little hotter, and also they seem to stay fresher longer because of the calcium nutrients that they have in it. and they get a really good flavor too. It's my nutrient of choice. I've used it for well over, I'd say I'm going on 6 years this year. I've heard people go, well, it's a little pricey. Not really. You'd be surprised at how long it lasts, and also the results you get from it. Now, this is how I usually buy my Nectar for the Gods, in gallons, because I believe in it. I get those monsters growing, and in here, in this new greenhouse, you're gonna see the same result. I'm gonna fill this greenhouse with monster plants. This is the filter that I like to use when I have to run my city water to filter out some of the chlorines and things like that. It works really well. This one will last an entire season. So we're really getting that soil wetted in and ready to go. There we go. Now, this soil has worm castings in it, everything. This is one of my home brewed ones. So now I've got that hole open. Again, I'm going to put in some of my Nectar for the Gods one shot, and a little bit of the bone meal to help with a quick rapid growth, just like that. And if you want to see how I've mixed soils before, I have videos on that, and you can go through my channel and you'll see my different soil mixes. So now I've got that in there. I'm going to add a little bit more into the bottom of the hole right there of the Nectar. And what that does is, by adding that nutrient in there, that nutrient is going to give it the fast burst. It's going to get it going right away. And then when that one shot starts to break down, it'll start getting the nutrients from the one shot. And these plants, I'm telling you folks, they're gonna just go crazy. So now I got that packed down right up to the top of that plug. So now this is put in. I could just go ahead and put that into here, and I'm gonna wet it in just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go around and hit all my babies and give them this awesome nutrient to get them going, because I want them to be on a calcium diet. Like I said before, you'll hear people say, well, it seems a little pricey. How much do you pay for CalMag? That stuff isn't cheap anymore. You know what? I don't put CalMag in my plants because they already have the calcium. So there's one less thing that I have to spend money on. Nectar for the Gods, I'm telling you folks, in my opinion, they're some of the best nutrients out there. So I'm going to go ahead and finish feeding these. And then remember, when the temperature's getting hot in here or at your house, it'll give them that ability to actually fend off the heat or fend off the cold and really make them a lot more tolerant to those conditions. I'm telling you, well, this is Harold with Papa Bear's Peppers. You all have a great day. Keep growing. Let's make it a great year.